All right, let's get started then. Or not, Casper? All right, so the title of this presentation is Backdrop CMS, what I love about it as a site builder, and how is it different from Drupal 7 and 8. And actually, there's going to be talk of how it's similar to them as well. So my name is Gregory, or Greg. This is a way to reach me. Sorry, there's no Twitter or Facebook accounts. I don't use these. You might hear other presenters, they have more this is my first presentation and my first Drupal event ever. So please be gentle. So first of all, I'm just a father and a husband. This is, you wouldn't hear me say I'm a web developer or something else. I was born and raised in Greece, that's where I come from. I've been in the country for 3 years. My certification says computer network engineer, that's what I mainly do. My friends say that I'm a geek. I am a owner of a small business, I'm Melbourne-based. I've been doing that for the past 3 years. I've been around in Drupal land for about 7 years now. So this is currently my profile. Hasn't been updated for quite a long time. So I've been around for 7 years plus. I don't know how these two commits there happened, but they did. Maybe because, I don't know if it's GitHub related, because I did do commits for Backdrop. I don't know, maybe some patches get back to core or Drupal.org in general. And what I used to do, like if you were around the queues, I was the one pestering the queues. I was always doing testing, and I was kicking the tires and trying to break things. Usability, without being a usability expert, I used to do usability reviews to the best that I could. In the context of Drupal, in general, I'm just a website builder. And I would claim that I'm a CMS enthusiast. So it all started when I wanted to build a website for my own business. And then I turned to CMSs, and the three majors were, of course, Joomla, Drupal, and WordPress. I didn't like the philosophy and the mentality of the rest of them, so I ended up with Drupal, and I loved it, and I still do. I need to emphasize that I'm not a coder. Although I do some, people will disagree if they look at my GitHub profile, but I am not a coder. I do search and replace stuff and I fix things, but I do not do PHP. The oldest that I can go back and remember myself coding was in Pascal or C++, and that was like 15 or 16 years ago. For Backdrop CMS, I am a member of the project management committee. And I represent the non-coding part of the community, the site builders, what you would call the guys that would do Lego block building with their websites. All right, so before I start, that was a bit about me. So let's do a small demographic here about how many people, by raise of hand, consider yourselves a coder. So there's half of you. A theme builder, like 30%, say, and a site builder, a fair bit again. All right. I do a little bit of theming and site building. I very little coding side myself. Do you guys know the term fork? What does it mean? All right. All right. For those that do not know it, because the code is there for open source, if some people of the project decide that they need to change it in a way that is not in agreement with the rest of the community, they can take the code and change it in ways that they feel that it's best for their purposes, and they can put it out there. Do you know what GitHub is? Are you using it? All right, a fair bit again, because that's where we keep our code, that's where we work. And before this session was announced, did you guys hear of Backdrop CMS before? few of you, yes. And how many of you have you actually tried Backdrop? Just a couple, okay. So this is, I have met a lot of great people in the corridors there, and we had some talks. There's been some heated discussions since the project started out. There were a lot of people saying, oh no, why are you doing that to the community, and it's going to divide us, and it shouldn't happen. It's been past 2 years now, a little bit more, but yeah. This is where we are now. We have over 300 contrib projects on GitHub. There's close to 400 users registered. We have close to 60 people contributing code, porting modules, etc. And there's another 16 pending applications. And as of this morning, there were over 7,000 downloads of Backdrop Core, and we have 266 active websites reported, installs. So, demo time. Let me get out of these. So, before I do that, let me just quickly pop to our main website. This is where you'll find most of the information about Backdrop CMS. The way that this is the philosophy of our project. This is our mission. So Backdrop CMS enables people to build highly customized websites affordably, and this is a key word there. This is for websites or site owners that have very low budget, through collaboration, of course, and open source software. And how we are governed is like, I'll go down here, I'll scroll down here. You'll see faces that you're familiar with. Nate and Jane are the founders of the project. Nate was the guy that's behind the Ajax framework for D7. If I remember everything that he has done, because he's been a long time Drupal contributor. And he's the one that designed the API dialog, the dialog API, sorry, and he was the one to also do the WYSIWYG work before Drupal 8 decided to go Symfony. And Jen has been around also for a long, long time, and how many guys of you used Drupal 8 and Twig? All right, she was the Twig lead. So she was the main person behind the Twig initiative. And then there's the rest of us. The way that that Backdrop is governed is through the project management committee. It's something that it's done in other projects like Apache, so it's not a single person that controls the fate, so to speak, of the project. We decide, and we are seeking for more people to join the PMC so we can have people from different countries, cultures, ages, and industries, and what have you, deciding for the fate of the project. For example, if I myself personally feel that the project should go one direction, but the people that I represent, which is the site builders, decide something different, that is what is going to be my opinion during our meetups as a project. So we also have a roadmap here. And this is actually a history of what has happened. We release often, every 4 months. We've been around for like a couple of years now. So this is where you'll find on the website what has happened, what features went in which version. And the reason why I went there before I do actually this, I'll show you how Backdrop looked out of the box a couple of months ago. So was this familiar? So it's the same theme that you used and loved or hated from D7, and this is how it looks. We've tweaked it, so it's responsive. There's a few options, like if you go to appearance, and you go to the settings, you'll see that there's options now for the, there's a preview there, and there's options for the tab styles to be rounded. Do you want me to increase the should be good. Anyways, there's a few options to make the tabs there rounded or have them square. But all in all, it's the same. If you install Backdrop, you won't feel out of place. It's similar to how it was. We have, this is out of the box, as I said. How many of you guys have loved Overlay, the module? All right, good. I didn't think so. And the first two things that I was doing each time that I was setting up a website was disable the Overlay module and install admin menu, right? How many of you have been doing that? All right, a fair bit. So this is what is included in core as well. After it's admin menu but improved. So it's made responsive. So if I do this, you'll see that it switches to be responsive. And we have added also a search feature. So if you are, maybe Mac users would be familiar with that. So if you try to add something, there's all the options. Like you can, instead of being lost in the menu there, and we try to sort of like consolidate everything and make this work better, like move menus around or change the labels of the menus so that they make more sense. We try to make it more user-friendly. So this is how it looked a couple of months ago, and this is what the default theme of Backdrop looks now. After 1.5.0 was released, just give it a second, it's local, sorry. So this is how it looks now. There's a new theme, and the guy that's behind it is, just hold on a second, just let me give proper credits. So this is Wes, and that's the guy that's behind the new, the default front-end theme for Backdrop, which is this, it's called Basis. So what we have is, the menu is still there. We have a hero block that's full page, and the difference from, did I close that one? Just let me just pop this up real quick. So see the very welcoming, welcome but you have no content message there. That wasn't that user-friendly, so what we've decided to do is we switched that, and there's actually a node being created there ready for you to edit as you please. So if you go to content, you'll see that there's 2 pieces of content ready out of the box, an about page and your first post. So instead of having the users figure out how they add content, the content is there, they can go and edit it, and they can create more if they wish to. One of the other things that I like about Backdrop is, first of all, we have certain things out of the box. We have how many of you are familiar with the CMS, it's the configuration management system in Drupal 8? Quite a few of you. So the base idea behind things is that content settings is not saved in the database anymore, and it's in files. So if I go to let me pop to my, just hold on a sec. One thing that you can say that we've inherited the best of both worlds from Drupal 7 and Drupal 8. So if you go to our structure, you'll see that everything that's related to core has been moved in a core folder, so that people, with less Drupal experience, when they come here, they know not to mess with core. And what you see here, the modules, is for contrib modules only. So instead of asking your people to go to sites, all defaults, create folders, and so on and so forth, they just pop their themes and modules on the root respective folders that are there. And there's other concepts like layouts, I will get to that later on, but these are contrib projects as well. And if you want to build a multi-site, the functionality is still there via the sites folder. So we've got that, not inherited, but we copied it from Drupal 8. It was a natural evolvement of what Drupal 7 should be. So we kept the base code, but we made it so that configuration management, which was a feature that many people sought for, was there. So built-in content listing generator, that's in other words, views in core. So that's there as well, out of the box. There it is. And you will see that there's also, let me go there. And actually, let me do it. Let me do it from this environment. So there's 3 default views there. And what it is if any of you are familiar with the admin views module, that's what it is. We tried to replace all the listings, and we still are in the process of replacing all the listings, but the major ones have been replaced with actual views. And why we've done that is some people disagree with what the content listing page as an admin should be. And you can go there and this is a bulk operation thing that's also in core, views bulk operation. So if you don't like the columns that are here, you can change them, rearrange them. It's just a view. If you know how to work with views, you can change the admin UI the way you want it, and that's included in core. So the layout system. The way that you were writing blocks to Drupal 7 was you would go to the block UI, and then you would drag and drop the blocks in rows that would represent the various regions of your theme. What we have in Backdrop is the concept of layouts. So we have layouts that are configured to be shown or applied to various pages of your website according to settings that you define. And how you manage blocks is, you can create your own. There's 3 out of the box, the layouts, the defaults. And how you manage blocks is you go to the Manage Blocks page, and then you have your various regions, header, top, content, and so on. And there's various blocks there that you can configure, like so. Or you can drag and drop like so. Like if you want to move that there, you just move it, save configuration, that's it. One of the major things that I want to display that it was a major thing for me is how modules are installed. So if you go to functionality, you'll see that we've added a filter there. And if you go to install modules, you will see what we used to be codenamed a project browser. So whatever, this might take a little bit to load now. Oh, actually, do I have it there? Because the internet connection is slow. Let's give it a second. All right, if this doesn't work, I'm going to connect to my private hotspot instead of, yeah, it seems everybody's using that. So let me pause just for a quick second until I get some decent internet connection. Sorry for that. So the base idea is that all contrib modules and themes and layouts are centrally based on a GitHub repository. And then everything is, as soon as one developer makes a release, everything is pulled on backdropcms.org, where it creates nodes with downloads as options. So the various versions are available through there. And then your website will simply communicate with backdropcms.org, pull that list of. Second, let me just display that live. Come on, that's me. All right. Let's see if it likes us this time. All right, so this is what you get when you have decent internet connection. So this is basically, have you guys used WordPress before? Yes, it's similar to how WordPress handles things. You do not have to leave your website in order to install a module. You can do that, and we have kept the old way of installing modules here, the manual installation thing, which pops up a dialog. You can pop names here or URLs the way it was how you used to do it. But say for the sake of this example, I want to search for Devel, and let's actually go ahead and install that. So there it is. I just add that to the queue. It's been added there, and I just press install, And you can keep adding whatever modules or themes you want, and this will batch up and it will list everything that you have selected. So you just move forward, you install. Again, apologies if this is slow, it's on my local and it's a crappy little laptop, so bear with it. In the meantime, let me see if I can display until this happens. So we're short on time. So it says here improved performance. So I'm responsible for the idea of that, but not the coding behind it. I do a lot of small websites, and one problem, and low traffic ones. It's for friends, family, and small business owners. So they might get literally like 10 people a day or even less. So the first visitor of the day would cop it, as in cron would kick. When cron kicks in, it won't let you see anything. It's just a blank page. It seems as if your website is offline. Nothing is presented to you. So the idea was, show the poor fella that just came what you have and let cron run in the background to do the caching or whatever it has to do. So what this does is it initiates the cron run, and the second visitor that comes on your website will see the updated content, but at least the first visitor that comes there before the last cron run will get to see something instead of nothing. And again, this is for small businesses and low budget people that install it on very affordable, I won't say cheap, hosting. And let's go back to that. This is ready. So you just select to enable it. And all I'm trying to do here is generate content for us through Devel Generate. So there is the reduced theme system complexity. That's what Jen did. It's Drupal 8 got Twig. We got some of the Twig initiative fixes. Maybe Jen would be the most appropriate person to explain that, and there's all sorts of videos available. But we sort of like simplified what is called dividers. Too many divs, and you don't know what to do, the spaghetti code. And we have an upgrade path if you are considering moving from Drupal 7 to Drupal 8. And all core modules, all modules that have been moved to core from contrib, from the respective D7 contrib, they have an upgrade path, so nothing needs to change. Your data will be migrated flawlessly. So if I go back to functionality, because I need to enable another module. So let's enable Devel Generate to generate ourselves some menus. So the next release after the 1.1 was the 1.0 was the 1.1, and that brought tokens with it. Automated URL alias, that's path auto for users, taxonomy terms, and nodes. And that was actually the what I showed you before with admin views as well. So now we have Devel Generate. Let's generate some menus. And I will show you what I mean. So I want that for the primary menu, and let's create, I don't know, 100. Let's do that just local nodes. Leave that rest as it is. And generate the content. I'll be jumping, I won't go through the roadmap sequentially. It's just things that I like, I'm excited about, and I would like you to know as well about. So I will show you some features that have been added recently, and some features I would just go by the roadmap. So let's see if Devel Generate likes us. In the meantime, let me show, oh, sorry. Let's make that less. If this doesn't work, I apologize. As I said, this is a tiny laptop that I brought with me, and it's not powerful enough. Sorry about that. So let's pop to another section. Oh, there it is. I wasn't hoping for that to happen. The point is I created way too many menus that doesn't happen. The point was to show you that Backdrop has drop-down menus out of the box, so you don't have to do anything at all. Now, I overdid it, like you wouldn't put that many there across your top menu, but the point is this is responsive, it's keyboard-friendly, it's accessible. Let me just tab through that. So there I go, that's just my keyboard, and I can navigate. This is a third-party library, and we are looking in the future to incorporate that in the admin menu so that it can inherit a few of its goodies, like the keyboard navigation. We're working on that. Another thing, simple stuff like content types. So one of my major concerns, and this is a trademark of something that Jen said, connect the dots. So we have people when they start configuring, people when I say this is a beginner, sort of like class beginner level, you have people learning Drupal, and everybody says that it's a steep curve to learn Drupal, and we have them pogo sticking around the user interface trying to figure out, well, I want to set permissions for this node. Oh, you can't do it here. You have to go to another menu that you have to first know and everything. So what we try to do is we consolidate things. So that's a new tab there. So now when you create a content type or a vocabulary, you can just define permissions straight from the main interface. Now, how much time do I have left? Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, thanks. So we also have the patterns section, and another thing that got into core was just hold on a second. And bless you. So yes, normally you'd have to go here to set permissions, but the respective sections for each part of the user interface that you're trying to set permissions for are now set in a place that is close to you there, and you don't have to leave the page and do whatever you wanted to do in the first place. And let's go to the roadmap and see some of the other features. So we've added a notification icon, so that's what it is there. So sometimes, because the way that the status report is set up, unless someone is in the habit of actually visiting and checking up on the website, you don't have any idea if something's going wrong unless you visit that particular page. This is another feature that was added. It's emoji support. You just change your database to support emoji. And I intentionally haven't done that just to have the icon there shown, so I can show you. So there's small things, improvements everywhere. I'll move forward. Path redirection. So we have sets and metadata, and then the aliases. So this is path auto. So you have the patterns there. And we have sensible patterns out of the box. So your content type, once it's created, like if it's a product, it would be products, I don't know, bananas, whatever. So it's sensible defaults that people do not have to think about it. So out of the box, we try to make it as simple to set up a website with people can still tweak it, but they have to do less work. And so if you add content, let's add a page. All right, WYSIWYG. We tried to do that for release 1. It didn't happen, but we promised that we will release often, and we will release every 4 months, specific dates, so that people can budget how they do their upgrades and sort of like get it on a schedule. So if something doesn't get in, we get all the features that we wanted. We don't say it's going to be ready when it's ready. Whatever we have ready, we ship it, and then we push something in the next release. So the next release, if you go to the roadmap, just let me jump from here to there. The next release to happen is, we are currently in 1.5 release, and the next one is the 1.6. So what we are planning there, there's a lot of, this is a very ambitious release, but this is what's getting in core. It was 80%, I think, ready for 1.5, and as I said, it didn't happen, so we just shipped with the rest of the features, letting people take advantage of that, and then we'll try our best to get it in for the next release. So when I go to create a page, you see WYSIWYG, which, as I said, it didn't happen for the 1 release, and I think it didn't even happen for a 1.1. It happened in 1.2. We got it right, and that's it. And then this is what I was talking about, the URL. So that's the path order. And if you guys have used path order, they might, I don't know if you have been hanging around the issue queues, you might have seen me pestering people about getting, I even forgot now the module name. It was sort of like a submodule path auto persist, I think. So what would happen is you untick that and you want it to be remembered. So next time you edit this node, you don't want it to be ticked so that it can auto-generate things and mess up with your custom URL. Or the opposite, if you want this automatically generated and you rename the node and you have it set as node title, you want that to be updated. But then what happens to the old URL? And that's when this happens automatically. So if you rename your node in a fashion, because you have defined patterns that are related to the node's title, it will be renamed, a new URL will be created there, but there will also be a redirect from the old URL to the new URL. So that's baked into core as well, nothing to configure. You can still manage these. Hold on a second. There you go. None created obviously here, but yes, the UI is there to do that as well if you wish to do so. And I already showed you the project browser, and then one of the major features that we have is the layouts, and something that I displayed previously. So when you build menu blocks, you have the option to either have it be just top level, which is the old style, it's still responsive, but it's not drop-down menus, or you can have hierarchical trees, which is, if you would like how you would use that is you have your top level menu displayed in the horizontal banner at the top of the header of your website, and if you want any level after that level to be displayed on a sidebar as a section, then you set this to start at the second level. So have you guys, I think this was called menu, I can't remember the name of the module now. So have you guys done that previously? Like, I think it was, is anyone familiar with that module specific, how it's called? Yes, exactly. So, yep, that's built into core as well. So if you want to do that, you know, absolutely do it. And then, just hold on a second. What I want to show you is, I'll create a new layout. Say you want to create a layout that is displayed only for articles. All right, let's select a one with a sidebar there, just to show you what I want to do. This is one of the usability, since I don't have, or maybe it's a split audience between coders and site builders, how many people are familiar with contexts? And how many are confused by the notion of contexts? Exactly. So I'm striving to find a way to make this simpler for people to understand it, because from an end user, non-coding user perspective, we don't want to know what contexts are. We just want to use the benefits of having them automatically. So if I want to define something, we're trying to find a solution there. We haven't still figured it out. We're working on it. Instead of having to type this, which doesn't make sense to most, I would like to just choose the end result of it. I want the node ID or whatever available to me, and that's what I want to choose. Now, if that means that the specific context needs to be node/%, you do that like Backdrop or core, whatever, do that automatically for me. I don't care. So we're trying to reverse that, or at least I'm pushing that way. If it's possible, because it's just my idea, implementation-wise, it might not be possible. So yeah, I've done that. And then I'll just create a layout. So one thing that was bothering me, and I needed, I don't know, like 5 or 6 modules to achieve that, is like if you want to add an article or some biography, and then you want a specific, like you have the photo displayed on a block, on a sidebar. So you'd have to use views and get specific view, and then add only that specific filter, and then have that as a view block, and then a million things. So what I do is like, it says here, manage blocks. All right, and this is the sidebar. I can configure different things, but there you go. So as soon as the context is node, all the fields that are available for that content type are made available as a field that you can put on a block that will display there. So if I wanted just the image of articles, I'll just set it there. I can define what to use as a label, like sort of as a block title. If I want the field label displayed or not, what image style I want there, and if I want it linked somewhere or not, I'm just going to leave all defaults. The point is that, boom, I just 3 clicks away, instead of installing millions of, not millions, literally like maybe 3, 4, 5 modules and messing around with views, there you have it out of the box. And another thing with these, with the blocks is, besides style settings, you can choose the default or dynamic. So if you want to say that my block, I want it rendered as a paragraph, or you can customize that. You can add your own classes right there on the block. And visibility conditions is one of my favorites as well. Say, all right, I want this block shown only when, I don't know, site language is English. And you have available so many options here. So if you want to customize some blocks so that they can show specifically on certain conditions, and you can add conditions on top of that and sort of like mix and match the way you want it to behave. So there's a lot of flexibility there. In previous versions, this was a pain. This page title thing was a drop-down menu up here, and it confused people. So now it's also sort of like a pseudo region that you can choose from. And we also, there's a few options there. So you can have a custom page title, or copy that from a block. So you have all the blocks that are placed on your layout, and you can pull their title and put it as a page title if you want to do that. Or you can just say no title for the web page. So before we finish up, there's so many things that I could show, but there's not enough time. There is not much time for questions, but there is a Birds of Feathers session that I have set up later on, I think at 2:15. So if you guys have any questions as to why Backdrop, I hate to answer these questions, but I will try my best, because I'm not in the sort of like policy or politics of things, but I will try to reply it from the site builder point of view. But before I finish up, this is where you can find more information. There was a recent Backdrop CMS, a Badcamp, where we had a full summit with training sessions lasting Nate and Jen were giving these for like 3 hours. They're available on our YouTube channel. Just before I close these, some more demographics, just bear with me. So how many of you are Apple users? All right, say like 30%. Windows? All right, another like 40%. And Linux guys? Self as well. Fair bit. A little bit more. How many prefer Chrome? Ooh, almost everybody. Firefox? Yep, a few of us. And I feel sorry for you guys. Are there any here? No, all right. So, being Greek, bear with me. This is related. Have you guys watched this movie? All right, one guy. So the whole concept is Greeks outside Greece, we're like, you give us a word and we say, oh, that word is Greek, and we try to explain. So this whole movie is like the father of the bride was Greek, and he wanted his daughter to be married to a good Greek guy, but she ended up married to a xeno, which is a foreigner. So I would like you to watch this, and this is related, but do bear with me. So she ended up getting married to that guy, and this is the father's speech. It's just 1 minute. It's worth watching. Trust me.
Welcome to the Portokalos family, and welcome the Miller family. I was thinking last night, the night before my daughter going to marry Ian Miller, that the root of the word Miller is a Greek word.
Bullshit.
And Miller comes from the Greek word milo, which is mean apple. So there you go. As many of you know, our name Portokalos is come from the Greek word portokali, which means orange. So, okay, here tonight we have apple and orange. We all different, but in the end, we all fruit.
And the reason why I showed you that is, there you go. I still build websites with Drupal 7. I don't know if I'm ever going to move to Drupal 8, but I guess I'm going to have to if I want to get a decent commerce site. I will still build with Drupal 8. So as I said, we come in peace, and we don't say use Drupal or Backdrop or whatever. It's just see what's fit for your situation and your sites and your customers, and just choose wisely. That's what we do. All right, thank you.
I know you're avoiding questions here, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Are there any features of Drupal 8 that you are jealous of?
Personally, or as a
you personally? No, you personally. Like, I would love to see if we can get that feature of Drupal 8 into Backdrop.
So far, I haven't seen anything, but I will be true. I have moved away. This has nothing to do with Backdrop. It has to do with my situation in this country. I have very limited time. So I was surprised to find certain evolvements. Like, I know that your release cycle has been reduced as well. You moved to... nothing comes to mind now, but I'm sure there might be things.
Well, that's probably a good thing as well. Like,
I don't have an answer, but if you throw features, like the edit in place thing, it was, I think Angie Byron was the first to introduce that and throw a video of it.
Yep.
I liked it, but I'm not sure how. Maybe it's a good thing. If we like it that much, I'm sure that we are going to steal it of you guys.
For sure.
And it's the same thing. If we find, I think already, just so you know, Nate is the lead of the security team, and they work closely with the Drupal security team. So each time that there is a security release that affects core, we work together and we release at the same time, so there's nothing compromised out in the open. And when we find something that we do it in a good way, we always contribute patches back to Drupal core, may it be 8 or 7.
Thanks, Greg.
So,
I've used up all your time there, but thank you very much.
And thank you guys.
Thanks everyone for coming.